As parents of Ibby, who's got hyperinsulinism, we understand the pressure and stresses that are on families all the time in dealing with a rare disease. When Sarah Hall, our MP, represented us in Parliament in the Westminster Hall debate, the response from Stephen Kinnock, the minister who was answering the question at the time, was very much centred on how the rare disease framework being put in place is going to support families in accessing medical care, and it's going to be the UK's answer to making sure that those needs are met. What stood out to us when we reviewed the framework as it is there's nothing really that addresses schooling. And as educators and teachers, we felt that that was something we could have an impact on and change. So Joanne and I both come to this from the point of view of having taught in the classroom for between us 4 decades. We've had a range of experience in leadership positions and different roles. And we know the challenges that both schools face and the challenges that parents have in making sure that their child's getting the support they need. From that, with our connections and network to different people in education, we spoke to people that are school leaders, CEOs of multi-academy trusts. We spoke with professors of psychology. We spoke with pediatricians. We spoke with charities. Sarah and the Hyperinsulinism charity helped with giving us feedback and different ideas and thoughts. We spoke to other charities beyond just hyperinsulinism in terms of, for example, Rett syndrome was represented by Reverse Rett, to bring together a framework that is designed to give parents an opportunity to engage with a school in a way that gives them the confidence that their child's needs are being met and that things are in place that need to be in place. Now, from this, it became really clear that we needed a way to host what we were building. We needed somewhere that could be really clear, this is the rare disease framework, this is where it's hosted for schools, and this is what it looks like. And we founded the Rare for Schools as an organisation. And Rare for Schools has one mission and one goal only, and that's to make sure that a rare disease is never a barrier to learning. We've got different ways of going about that and different things we're going to aim to achieve, and we'll share those. But essentially, it's all about making sure that there's not this barrier to learning created by a rare disease that is beyond anyone's control in terms of the lottery of who gets a rare disease and who doesn't. So with that, we started by reflecting on some of those key challenges that children in schools face. And some of them, I mean, I'm sure you've experienced them and know them. And the key ones that really jumped out were things like attendance. So absence rates for pupils and children with rare diseases are obviously going to be higher. They're going to have complications due to their disease, and they're going to have complications due to medical appointments and that kind of thing that all have an impact. There's also a need to adapt environments. Environments are things that can be changed, the physical environment, the social environment, the cultural environment, etc. And what really stood out to us is social inclusion. If a child's having their start to schooling, for example, delayed because the staff are needed to be trained and that kind of thing, by the time they're getting into school, those kind of social norms, those kind of relationships, that early kind of settling in phase has been done without the child present. It's got the rare condition. So we wanted to make sure that this framework could be something that is highlighted and there from the start to make sure that no child is delayed in getting into school. They're not behind their peers in any way. They don't feel segregated from their peers. And it's really about making sure that there's that inclusion. And underpinning that is the staff awareness, because we know that if staff aren't aware of the condition, they don't know how it affects different children, they don't know the interventions and that kind of thing, it's going to have an impact. And it's going to be something that needs to be looked at and changed. And problems happen when staff in school don't know. It's, as parents, what makes us worried. It's like, well, you don't know. What if there's a cover teacher and they drop and they're like Ibby's having a low and it's not a normal class teacher and they don't know what to do. And that staff awareness is so essential in managing any rare condition. So the core principles of the framework then centered on compassion as the first thing. So compassion is empathy with action. So we've got obviously empathy as the root. We understand the problem. We're empathetic of it, but we're going to do something about it. We're going to put something in place to make sure that the needs of children are met. And this was something that really came from Sir Al Ainsley Green, who's been a wonderful advocate for the rare disease framework and written the foreword for the framework. And really, we're aiming to bring compassion back into education. It should be front and center in everything that's happening in schools. Now, within that, we want to make sure that there's personalised care. It shouldn't be this one size fits all. And the framework throughout makes it very student-centred and parent-led. Okay, so that parent-led element gives you as parents the opportunity to share your knowledge with the school and to make sure that everyone is on the same page in terms of what's happening, what it looks like. You control the process, you make sure your child's needs are in place, and the school are engaging to listen to you and respond to that. And by doing so, we know that you can have more confidence that things are there that need to be there, and you can be happier in terms of, okay, Johnny's going to school today and he's going in and I know he's going to be okay while he's there. Now, the staff training element of this is something that's really important, but we felt that it was extremely important that that wasn't all put on you as parents as something you need to do this and you need to go in and train, because actually that's pressure and stress that you don't need. And it's better coming from recognised professionals, be it medical professionals, be it charitable training that's done through, for example, CHC offering training, and training videos may be available for schools. It could be the community nursing team that you've worked with in the past may be going in and doing the staff training, and it will be supplemented by you, obviously, because you know, as we all do, each child responds differently. Their needs are slightly different with HI, and it's the same with pretty much every rare disease, that how it impacts children differ. And because of that differing need, it is important that parents do feed into that. And then it's about making sure that those reasonable adjustments are made and that they're there for every child. So what needs to be changed in the physical environment? What needs to be changed in the social and cultural environment? We even talk in depth about the impact on siblings, and there's a whole page which is extremely rare in any kind of education document about actually when we consider this condition or these family of conditions, there is an impact on siblings in terms of they might have been up checking sugars, for example, in the night, or helping with intervention. They could have been disturbed. They could be going into school in the morning knowing that Ibby, our daughter's at home, having had a low, and we're intervening as they've gone out the door and they're worried about what's going on at home. To pretend like siblings aren't impacted is shocking to us, and it's something that happens all the time. So we want to make sure that siblings get that recognition that actually we need to put things in place for them. So the reasonable adjustments extend beyond just the child with the condition, but to the wider family and the sibling network that are around them and supporting them all the time. Now, what this means for families is that there will be greater awareness of the condition. You will, within the framework, there is the support for awareness days in school and school raising the profile with your say-so as parent. Do you think it's the right thing that everyone knows about the condition in school? Is it the right thing for my child to be identified as the one with a condition to her peers, or do you want there to be a little bit of anonymity for them to share it with who they're friends with? Do you want to engage with the school in, for example, fundraising initiatives, or is it something that you don't want to do? And it's very personal. This isn't about saying it's one size. This is about saying, here's a framework that gives you the flexibility to operate how you feel best. And by raising that awareness of what your needs are, including how much profile you want the condition to have in school, it gives you that control and that ownership in your school community. That then helps support your emotional well-being, because you can be confident that when you send your child into school, their needs are being met, they're being checked and looked after at every opportunity, and whatever else happens, you can be confident that, okay, they're where they need to be with people that know and care and are compassionate about them and are going to make sure that they're safe and they come home safe with no ill effects of their condition throughout the day. This then will mean that you're going to have that improved network of support around you, where rather than just having a couple of individuals, you've got a whole school ecosystem supporting you and around you. And the benefit of that will be better transitions in school and better attendance, because, okay, I'm confident that Ibby can go into school because everyone knows what they're doing, and Ibby's confident going into school because everyone can meet their needs. Now, from this, we're working with Parliament, so we've engaged with Sarah at the House of Commons, who's our local MP, Sarah Hall, and she shared the rare disease framework with the DFE, and she's going to continue supporting us. We're meeting with the Lords. I'm recording this just before the meeting to make sure that you've got it before the conference, but we're meeting on the 18th of July, and I'm sure anything that's coming out of that, Sarah will be able to fill you in and give you feedback on what came out of the meeting with the Lords. And essentially, for us, the big thing now that we'd like to ask you to do is to be sharing this with your local MPs, with your schools, with your initial people around you in those supportive kind of environments, to help that parliamentary engagement, to say, look, we need this. The WHO make it very clear that health is not just about physical and mental health. The social and emotional health and the mental health is as important. How can any rare disease framework that's going to work with children and families not include schooling, which is such a big factor on a child's social and mental well-being? It baffles my brain that it's been neglected up to now, and it's something that we really need to make sure is being addressed, and we want your support in raising this with MPs and trying to get them to ask those questions. We want a commitment from ministers to include schooling in any decisions on rare diseases and the rare disease framework plan that the government has at present going forward, because actually it makes a huge difference to the lives of the children. So what next? Well, we obviously want to trial this and get some data, because that will support our case. So we want any families who read the framework, want to have this kind of connection with the school, to get in touch with us. Gavin at rare4schools.org will get you through to me if you let me know, and we'll support you with that. And essentially, we want to make sure that we help you in sharing this with schools and getting some trial data of the impact it has on children's well-being, their engagement with school, etc. We then want to continue securing this political momentum. We've gained some really early political attention and traction, and that's thanks to the amazing work of Lorraine, who's been helping us so much. So Lorraine Midder, who has supported Hyperinsulinism charity throughout, is also supporting us in getting this in front of those members of Lords and getting that traction. But we need more. We need you to be doing your bit in helping that with your local MPs. And then we're looking at liaising with MedTech as well. So we're currently in contact with a startup in the States called MirrorCare, who are looking at how to improve communication channels between families, carers, caregivers, and schools, etc., through an app that would allow this ease of information transfer, which would allow for better spotting of trends, better outcomes, and just better overall treatment. So hopefully we'll be able to come back in the future with an app that allows for all of that to come together. Hope you're enjoying the journey. Hope that makes a lot of sense to you. And if you've got any questions, please feel free to reach out. Thanks very much, guys.